The starting pitching market was basically cleared out prior to the lockout. There are some dudes left, though. There are. I was disappointed, like a lot of other Twins fans, that they didn't get anybody else other than Dylan Bundy prior to the lockout. A lot of it's cleaned out, but there are some pieces left. We're going to go over those pieces. But first, I want to talk about two guys that aren't mentioned in this piece of content I'm going to be reacting to. And those are the top two guys in the market. Carlos Rodon and Clayton Kershaw are the top two starting pitchers left out there, pretty much head and shoulders above everybody else. Clayton Kershaw, a future Hall of Famer, a guy who I think he was better than a lot of people realized last year. If you look at his 2021 numbers, they're still pretty darn good. They're just not God tier Clayton Kershaw numbers. You know what I mean? So he's still a very good pitcher. I think for Twins purposes, it makes sense for us to sort of exclude him from any kind of real analysis of the pitching market. I just don't see him landing in Minnesota. Maybe that's a misguided thought, but it would be very difficult to see him at this point of his career sign with a last place team like the Twins and kind of want to continue things on that way. I think, he's going to have an option to go back to the Dodgers if he really wants to. And then the other guy, Carlos Rodon, who to me was the number one most obvious target for the Twins based off of MLB Trade Rumors top 50 predictions with contract predictions. They only predicted he would get a 1-year, $25 million deal. I think he will beat that. But that's the kind of thing the Twins need to be doing. If they're not going to do these 5-6 year signings or extensions, even with starting pitchers, you got to be able to take some risk. And that is part of the equation with Rodon. He's more than likely not going to be pursued as heavily as he would be because there's a lot of injury concerns. And that's sort of, people are wondering why the White Sox wouldn't have offered him a qualifying offer. That sort of goes into that. So we'll see if he may be benefiting from the lockout, if anything, because he's allowing himself to get more healthy. He can pitch a showcase if he wants to. We'll see what happens there. I would love for the Twins to go after Rodon. I think he makes a ton of sense. And again, his value being suppressed, kind of plays into the Twins' hands, if anything. So we'll see what happens there, but we're going to key in on, and these are the more likely guys that I think the Twins could pursue. MLB Trade Rumors, speaking to them again, they did a feature that ran through some stats on the guys who are still available. Let's get into that. All right, so here we are at MLB Trade Rumors. Again, this is looking at the market beyond Rodon Kershaw. I think that's probably going to be sort of the Twins' pocket, even though I would love to see them go after Rodon. I'm not sure how realistic that is. And they really ranked it out by, stats. So it was interesting to see these guys, how they stacked up against each other, and also listed the league averages as well. So as you can see here, the top 10 guys, and, we all know Big Michael Pineda, with how much rotational need that the Twins have, it certainly would make sense for him to come back on a reunion once again. But he also pitched pretty well, 3.72 ERA. He's pitched pretty well his entire Twins career. So it's not like, I think some people may look at that as like a retread signing. But, why not? If the guy's been comfortable here, if he's been pitching well, I don't see why they wouldn't be interested in him. And then there's some other names here. Matthew Boyd, we know well from being with the Tigers. And then there's a couple guys further down who I find interesting are Yusei Kikuchi and Chad Kuhl. I think their overall ability is a bit better than those ERAs that they've posted. And, maybe that is showing up in the strikeout rate here. This is strikeout percentage. And we see Danny Duffy, another guy Twins fans are probably pretty familiar with from the Royals. I don't know that he ever really reached his, prospect expectations, but we're seeing him very high in this list. It's important to point out that he barely pitched. So that's kind of a concern with Duffy. There you see Kikuchi, who I mentioned, second in strikeout percentage. I'm also a big Vince Velasquez guy. If you saw my first offseason blueprint, he was actually a guy that I had the Twins signing on that. So I would like to see that. But some other interesting names in here as well. Old friend Martin Perez. I don't think we're going to see him again. But Tyler Anderson is a guy who pitched a bunch of innings, which the Twins really need some kind of an innings floor. So he could be interesting. We'll get to that in a moment. And then strikeout to walk. I believe this is strikeout minus walk percentage, which is a great number to look at. Maybe this is also, we're seeing now what I was saying with Yusei Kikuchi showing up. Despite not having a very good ERA, there are some things to like about him. And, Michael Pineda, again, like I said, I think a lot of Twins fans get kind of tired of sort of retreads. Like, I built up a trade in my last video that included Jake Odorizzi. Some people really like that. But there are some Twins fans that just, it's almost like the more familiar you are with a guy, all of his warts, you see the bad side and the good side. So it's kind of, some people have a harder time getting over those warts, as it were. Next thing they break down is ground ball rate. And, MLB trade rumors, they're doing such a nice job getting through the lockout. Obviously, there's not much happening, even in terms of rumored things, but they've been doing a really nice job. So I kind of wanted to feature that as well and let everybody know, hey, they're still doing good work out there. Carlos Martinez is a guy that shows up here. He's had a weird career with a career. He's a starter, and then he was a bullpen guy, and then he was kind of back in the rotation again. He's still relatively young, so I think he's another name that could be of intrigue. You don't want to fill up your rotation with too many guys of this same kind of like, oh, maybe they would be good. And the Twins already have Dylan Bundy, who definitely falls into that. He pitched well in 2020, was pretty bad last year. So you don't want to fill your whole rotation with all these guys who are, hey, maybe they'd be good. You want to get some kind of certainty. So that would be a concern with Carlos Martinez. They've kind of already got that guy in there again with Dylan Bundy. Here is FIP, and then innings pitched. I want to mention that with Tyler Anderson. The top guy is Zach Greinke. I don't think he really makes sense for the Twins at this point. I don't know. I don't think he would want to come to a team like the Twins that just finished in last place at this point in his career. But Tyler Anderson, that is something that's intriguing to me, as he pitched so many innings. And he wasn't terrible, so he's a guy. Right now, the Twins don't have a starting pitcher in the rotation who threw 100 innings last year, at least at the big league level. So they could really use someone who you can count on. Hopefully, there was never any guarantees, but you would think that he's a guy that you would be able to bank some more innings from. Or, they could go and get Jay Happ. So there's a bit of a breakdown. Still, again, some guys that I really like. Again, Yusei Kikuchi is a guy that really sticks out to me. He was a guy I hoped the Twins would pursue when he came out of Japan, and now that he's a free agent, he opted out of his deal with the Mariners. I think he could be a really great fit in Minnesota. So we'll see there. But thanks for checking this out. If you are a regular viewer of the channel, you may notice things looked a little bit different on this video. I am testing out some live streaming software, checking out these studio options on some of these things. And I want to get to the point where once we get into the season that I'm able to live stream post-game, talk about some Twins right as it's happening, talk about some minor league stuff, react to some minor league stuff as well as it's kind of happening. I just think that could be a lot of fun, just interacting with all of you and bouncing ideas off each other and having some good conversations. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Again, I'm going to keep sort of checking these out. This video is a combination of two different options stuck together. So I'm testing a ton of stuff and trying to get some more familiarity, some more comfortability with these things. So once we do give a shot to go live, that I'm not just a complete mess stumbling over everything. I edited some parts out of this video that didn't go so well. But of course, once we actually go live, we won't have that safety net. We won't have that parachute. So I really got to sharpen up on this stuff. But thanks for checking this out. You're also helping me in watching these videos as well, just by, always learning new things. So I'm really excited about the potential of that. And we're probably going to be starting to do some streams on Wednesday nights here during the off season, so I can get accustomed to these things. So come to those, come check those out, come leave some comments, come start some conversations with me, so I can get up to speed and we can just crush it in the regular season and have tons of fun. This has been Tom. Thanks for checking this out.